So right now, current moment, present time, I'm watching the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, courtesy of MMAfighting.com. And just a few minutes ago, they had John Kavanaugh as a live guest in the studio, and I wanted to give a little reaction to that. Reason why is because I think John Kavanaugh doesn't get enough credit in terms of being a coach and in terms of how serious he takes coaching in MMA, just simply because, you know what? His fighter, Conor McGregor, one of his most famous students of all time, if not ever, is considered to be the metaphor of the guy that is not serious MMA. In other words, if you ask a casual fan who their favorite fighter is, and they say Conor McGregor, guess what? Automatically in your mind, you think this guy is a casual. Just like if you're a soccer fan, a real hardcore soccer fan, and you say something to the extent that Ronaldo or David Beckham or Messi even is your favorite player. Not so much Messi, because Messi is in his prime right now, and you can't say that about, let's say, David Beckham or Ronaldo. So if you say Messi, you look more like a smart, informed fan. Whereas with the world of mixed martial arts, you mention Conor McGregor, you sound like the dumbest guy in the room. And I hate to really make it sound so brutally honest as that. That's just the reality of it. No one's going to respect you straight away because of the fact that Conor McGregor is synonymous with trash talking. He's synonymous with outrageous behavior. And even though he doesn't fake any of these things like Colby Covington or even Henry Cejudo, it's attached to his persona in some kind of way. So it's very difficult to take anybody seriously that is associated with Conor McGregor or anybody that full hand supports him in any kind of way. So in comes John Kavanaugh, a guy who was a former mixed martial arts fighter himself, a guy who is, by the way, the first ever jiu-jitsu black belt in Ireland. So this is quite an important thing to really bring up. Another thing that's important to bring up is his work that he does in the world of amateur MMA. And by the way, this is really the pinpoint narrative and the pinpoint thesis that I want to bring up to you, is his work in amateur mixed martial arts. Because he said something very important that I think a lot of people need to really hear, which is what? He says that he loves amateur mixed martial arts. And by the way, keep in mind, this is the coach of none other than the notorious Conor McGregor. Keep this in mind as I'm saying this, as I repeat to you, not so much verbatim, but somewhere to that close extent of the things that he said about amateur MMA. He says he loves it because there's no politics involved. He says that if you win, you advance to the next level. He loves the Olympic architecture surrounding the IMMAF organization that is held in Bahrain. An organization, by the way, with the likes of Muhammad Makayev has been platformed in and dominated in and has given the right amount of practice for him to get ready for the pros. Now, this is the side of mixed martial arts that a lot of people don't see. Obviously, you're going to see the glamour side of mixed martial arts. You're going to see the presentation of the videos, the beef that is going on, the storyline, the drama that is all attached to it. But what you don't see is the amateur ranks that gets a lot of the pros there. And more importantly, he even mentioned something to the extent, you know what? These guys can just fight in the amateur world, not have to worry about selling tickets. They don't have to worry about promoting themselves or any of this nonsense that goes into the entertainment portion of mixed martial arts. And then they can go on about their lives, have normal jobs such as a school teacher, a policeman, an engineer, a doctor, a nurse, or anything in between. So, again, what we are seeing out of John Kavanaugh is the real John Kavanaugh, outside of all the glamour and fame that is attached to Conor McGregor. And I think this is very interesting to bring up. I think this is very fascinating to understand. And not only that, I think that this right here is an eye-opening interview that I think everybody needs to see. For one, you got to understand a few things, right? What it means to be a coach. Let's just put John Kavanaugh to the side for a second. I know this video title is going to be about him, but let's talk about what a lot of MMA coaches go through. You have a big fighter, big name, big event. He wins on Saturday, like the likes of, let's say, Tom Aspinall, right? I know that he's not coached by John Kavanaugh, but I'm just giving you sort of a scenario of what John Kavanaugh, Faraz Zahabi, and Tim Welsh, and all these other top coaches in the MMA game right now go through. Not so much Tim Welsh, because I think that he's exclusively only training Sean O'Malley. So if Sean O'Malley wins and he's done with the fight, he's going to be hanging out with Sean O'Malley and not going to, let's say, another fighter, not going to another match that they have to be held in the next coming weeks or so, right? Because this is exactly what John Kavanaugh is describing. He has this big event, he's done with it, but he has to worry about coaching the next guy for the next week. So it is an absolute roller coaster ride. He also mentions that he can't be too hyper about the wins in terms of happiness, and he can't be too sad about the losses, so he has to keep his emotions somewhere in between. And I think this is really important for a lot of MMA fans to understand, because when it's 1 a.m. in the middle of the night and everybody goes home after the press conference, these guys either have to deal with these fighters and the craziness that they're going to be impending upon themselves on, let's say, their night of celebration. On the other side of that, they have to worry about the fighter who gets knocked out, gets sent to the hospital, and then having to do that ambulance ride from the arena to the hospital as they worry about their fighter that they put in there in extremely dangerous situations, or sometimes situations that they never saw coming, such as a head kick knockout or a devastating TKO, or maybe even a bad submission to where they got their limbs broken, or perhaps maybe got put to sleep in a long period of time that they shouldn't have, that caused some sort of serious bodily injury. So these are some of the things that you have to worry about as a coach of a professional fighter in the unpredictable world of MMA. So this is something that a lot of people have to understand and take a look at from the inside, because yes, the casual fans are what brings money into the sport. The hardcore fans have somewhat of a good understanding of what goes on, if not a full spectrum of understanding the business from head to toe. But more importantly, for the casuals, they need to understand this, because they are the money of this sport. And they are the guys that put money into the bank accounts of the fighters, of the media presentation journalists, or the people that are, let's say, the managers, or anybody that's involved in the game that's making some sort of money up about it. A lot of this money comes from none other than the casuals. So you have to understand their place in this particular landscape of mixed martial arts, but they also have to understand the place of what fighters and coaches go through on the daily grind. So that is all that I have in the reaction for John Kavanaugh's conversation with Ariel Helwani. Don't forget to like and subscribe as I break down not only the techniques, not only the business side of mixed martial arts, not just the geopolitical landscapes that are attached to these fighters in the countries they come from, but the overall psychology of everything that deals with this wonderful sport called mixed martial arts, and the overall world of combat sports in general, which encompasses boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, left-weight, grappling, and everything of the above. So don't forget to like and subscribe so I can continue to drop hot content like this. And also, don't forget to write on the comment section below and watch this entire video to understand the full spectrum of the message that I'm trying to convey. Inshallah.